In today's video, it's Medion MiniPC time. Hello everyone. It has surely been a while. In case you don't want to hear about that story, you can skip ahead. I'll put the time on the video right here. So you can continue and see how this machine is and all the unboxing and all that. So yeah, it's been a while, like I said, since the last video. I've mentioned before in that video, about a year ago now, I think it was, that I was dealing with some health issues, was not feeling well, really wasn't. Had some pretty big issues with my digestive system, let's put it that way, where I lost about 15 kilograms over about a year or something, which is about 30 pounds, not voluntarily, just, overall bloatedness, and a lot of nausea, not much urge to eat anything. So it's been a bit of a tough year, but since February this year I have some better medication and things are really looking up. So I'm hoping to keep it that way so we can make more videos, because when you're not feeling well you don't really feel motivated to make tech videos. So all of my tech hobbies were basically dormant for the better part of a year, which is sad because I always used to love technology, old and new, and of course Windows and Mac. Today it's none of these, but that's fine. But yeah, that's a bit of the backstory why my channel has been dead for over a year. It's not because I have died or because I just lost interest. It's just that I couldn't really find any motivation to make videos, so there's that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the main subject of this video, which is this Medion MiniPC. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the Medion brand of PCs, this is a German brand that used to be sold in all these supermarkets, and it was very popular for especially their low-end or good value offerings for computers, especially multimedia type PCs. They were very popular in the early to mid 2000s and in the early 2010s as well, and have since, I believe, been bought by Lenovo, I want to say. I'll put it on the screen if I totally cock that up, but that's what I believe. This is an S06, which is a system that you can configure. They can be bought as very basic barebones systems, so you only get a CPU, motherboard, and a case, and you have to supply everything yourself. So storage, you also need RAM, and you also need a Wi-Fi card because it doesn't even come with Wi-Fi, and you need to supply an operating system as well. You can choose between Core i3 and Core i5 CPUs. This one is a Core i5, and yeah, pretty decent spec, I guess. So this one is not a complete bare bones. This was a good value offering that they did. In fact, if we move a bit closer, we can see what kind of specs this particular unit has. We can see it's a Medion S06, model number MD35300. Right. We have as a CPU an Intel Core i5 1335U. We have 16 gigs of DDR4 memory. We have 512 gigabytes of SSD, and we have a built-in Intel Wi-Fi 6 AX101 Wi-Fi card. It comes with a VESA mount. It doesn't come with an OS, even though it says Windows 11 on the bottom, but it should actually not come with Windows, which is fine. And, talking about pricing, this unit with this amount of specification is, at least at the time that I bought it, was about 400 euros. And the most basic version, I think you can get under 300 without any of these parts. But I figured, well, the system is not actually going to be for me. Might as well just get something that has a decent spec here. And Windows is cheap. The version with Windows actually in this spec is 550 euros, which is not interesting at all. You might as well just buy something like a Minisforum or other type of mini PC. But because the system is not for me, I didn't want to go with an off-brand, so to speak. Medion is not an off-brand to me because it is a brand that I actually recognize. Something like B-Link or Minisforum or all those other various mini PC manufacturers, they're not quite as prevalent, and I'm not exactly sure if their customer service is as great as a more established name like this. So I figured this was a good way to go. So let's actually open the box up and see what is in here. because it's probably cheap as hell, and it is, just cardboard, silica gel. Always eat this, it's good for you. Of course you don't. It's not very environmentally friendly, it's in plastic. Let's look at that in a minute. Let's see how this opens up. It's not very refined packaging, but there's not a lot of plastic in here, so it's more eco than some. And here we have a bunch of booklets, instruction guides, and some accessories I see. Looks like some pills, that's probably the feet. And a vase mount. Yep, that's the vase mount in there. Got some screws, which are undoubtedly also for the vase mount. Let's just get everything out. I guess these are, either these are feet, well, now there are actually feet on the system. So I guess these are replacement feet or spacers for the vase mount. That makes sense. Alright, we won't be using that. So we'll just throw all this away. There we go. And this is probably a power brick. In fact, it's just a USB cable, so I'm guessing we have a USB-C power source. This is not the worst USB-C cable I've ever felt. I think this is about a 2-meter cable, I think. Or about 6 feet. If you're from the land that refuses to use anything but the metric system, or refuses to use, or uses anything but the metric system. Alright, yep, looks good. USB-C cable, wool wart. It's actually printed in blue like it's a USB 3 port. Yeah, you don't really need a USB 3.x for just power, I guess. Beefy unit though. A Koslin Gen charger, or Kosun, whatever. Yep, see right there. So yeah, it's 20 volts at 3.25 amps, 65 watts, and just this little brick here. That's actually pretty decent. Wow. Let's see if that holds up. If it's made from Chinesium, which is of course the best element in the world, if you're cheap. Okie dokie. So here is the MiniPC itself. Doesn't look like it's very easy to open up. Just having a quick look around. I'm gonna guess the screws are underneath the feet, which I always hate. So I hope these are not glued, but they're stick-on. Like a little anything. Yep. Okay. Brain part aside, we got a Core i5 sticker here on the bottom. I'm not sure why they put it on the bottom. I would have expected it to be like on top of here or like in front. But in terms of overall design, we have a brushed aluminum finish, at least what it feels like, but it is definitely plastic. Power button, Medion logo, some ventilation here. On the back we have a power jack, a headphone jack for USB 3.2 Gen or 3.2 Gen 2. So that should be 10 gigabit or gigabits. Yep. Wow, my brain's really working well today. And these are Gen 1, so these are 5 gigabits. RJ45, I'm just going to guess it's simple gigabit. We have decent port selection for that matter. DisplayPort, HDMI, a USB Type-C for data, and a Type-C for power delivery. I'm not going to expect this system to do video over USB-C. That's not something you really see in this price bracket, and it's not really all that necessary either. So that should be fine. Right, so I guess that is the system. Like I said, it doesn't come with an OS, so we'll have to put one on it. But first, I'm just going to have a little look around and see how easy this thing is to open up. If the answer is not very, we'll just skip right ahead to powering the system on, having a look at the first power on experience. As it turns out, these are reasonably easy to take apart. The feet are glued, but you have a little bit of a spacing for the screw. So, in fact, those were not spacers for the base mount, they were actually replacement feet that they shipped with this system, which I think is actually a nice touch. These are very long screws with a very short actual thread with some thread locker on them. So some thought has been put into these systems. Usually these MiniPCs are actually very easy to work with. I don't see any other screws. There we go. And here we have all the available expansion for this system. I guess this should really be all you ever need to look at. So in terms of configuration, like we already alluded to earlier, we have a Core i5 mobile processor. It's a 10-core CPU with 2 performance cores and 8 efficiency cores. Or was it 10 threads? Intel's confusing. But yeah. So here we have the RAM modules. These should both be 8 gigabytes in size, but they put some covering over them. So you should be able to upgrade this system to 64 gigs with 32 gig modules, which would make this a pretty decent little mini server. You can't really put much storage in it because it only has one M.2 slot here, which is a 4C 512 gigabyte module. I'm going to guess it's a DRAM cache-less cheapo Chinesium SSD, which is fine for the price bracket. And we have a replaceable CMOS battery over here, which is actually decent. Because there is, in some of these systems you have these proprietary batteries that are on a black and red wire that are just routed somewhere, and they're a sealed unit that you have to replace. You can get them, but these are a standard coin cell size, so you can just replace it by just going to your local supermarket and buying a whole strip of them, which is much easier. So I think that's pretty good. And the Wi-Fi module appears to be soldered to the motherboard here, which is again an Intel Wi-Fi AX101. So that's pretty good. I think we can work with that. Let's see if we can put it back together. I think we can. I mean, I had the sharpest tool in the shed, but I should be able to put something like this back together, right? So I'm going to do that, and then we'll turn it on for the first time and see what the overall software experience is like, at least from the BIOS side. And we are ready for takeoff. Let's see, press the power button, it's turning on. Monitor is doing something. I'm just going to press delete, hoping that brings us to the BIOS, and it does. It might not actually be the correct key for that, but that's okay. Right, so we can see a couple of things here. We have a Raptor Lake ULT 13th Gen Intel Core i5 1335U. It's running at 1300 megahertz. At the moment, it will turbo boost up to, I believe, 4.3 or something. So that's good. So we have indeed 2 performance cores with hyperthreading and 8 efficiency cores without hyperthreading. 16 gigs of RAM, which is 3200 megahertz, or actually 3200 meg transfers. It's actually 1600 megahertz. And our BIOS version is from 3rd of September 2024, or the 9th of March 2024. Considering it's American megatrends, I'm going to go with the American notation and say that is the 3rd of September. Alright, so what else can we find in here? We have PC health status, which tells us the CPU is running at 39 degrees. You can actually do something about the fan speed. So if the CPU is under 40 degrees, it will actually turn the fan off, and it's full speed at 95. I actually know these chips fairly well, the 1335U. It's actually in a lot of notebooks that we sell at my workplace, so to our customers. It was a very popular CPU in most of the mid-range HP ProBooks, which we often sell, or sold, because they are now they have been replaced. We have resizable bar support, integrated graphics. These integrated graphics should be perfect if you're doing media encoding like a Plex server or software assisted or accelerated transcoding in Handbrake or something like that. Because this does have Intel QuickSync and it is a reasonably modern chip. So it should be good enough for that. Not much else to configure here. There's some regular stuff like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth audio, onboard networking. Secure boot is enabled by default because these systems should come with Windows 11 if you actually buy the Windows license with it, which I didn't. And just some options to boot. Default, it just boots from the internal NVMe, and if it can't find an OS there, it will boot from USB key, which is what I have. And it has a Windows recovery trigger. The system does not come with Windows, or it should not come with Windows. So I'm interested to see if there's actually an operating system installed on it and you just don't have a license. So let's have a look at that, see if it will actually boot straight back to BIOS or not. Exit. Yeah, it just boots back into the BIOS. Okay, so we don't have an operating system. So let's see what happens if there's Windows recover. It should not do anything, really. And it does nothing. Right. That makes sense. So I'm going to put in a USB stick. I'm not going to bother installing the Ethernet cable right now because it does have Wi-Fi and I'm like less than 10 feet away or 3 meters from the nearest Wi-Fi access point. From 2 directions, in fact, so we should be fine. Discard and exit and see if it will pick up the USB flash drive right away. And it does. So it seems. Got a nice splash screen here. Yep, so I was booting from my Windows 11 flash drive straight away. Good to see. I put it in the 3.2 Gen 2 port, even though this USB flash drive is, I want to say, just about 10 years old. It's seen a lot of action, let's put it that way. We don't have a product code yet. We'll do all of that later. I will be buying a Windows 11 Pro license for this just because Pro is just a bit more what I'm used to. Home is missing quite a bit of features that I like to use. So they ship the SSD completely formatted. So we can just go straight into it and just say use all of the unallocated space. I'll install Windows 11 Pro and let it do its thing. So I'm just going to set Windows up for now. And once there's anything worth mentioning, I'll be right back. And we're back. It's some time later. I've finished installing Windows 11. It is the Pro version. I actually also activated it, installed Office on it as well, updated that. So it's all good to go in terms of overall software. And as you can tell, it's really responsive. You can just open up these apps like that, as you would expect from a system in this performance class. And everything's working well. In terms of overall noise of the fan, I noticed that this is one of those systems that doesn't really ramp up the fans at all. What it actually likes to do instead is just put it right up to the next speed point or whatever. It just ramps it up straight to like 50, 60, 70%. It's no gradual slope. Maybe that's something we can set up in the BIOS later, but it doesn't bother me too much at the moment. One thing I did notice before we finished updating Windows and installing drivers, the CPU would not boost beyond 2 GHz. It now actually boosts up to the full 4.6 on the performance cores, it seems. So that's good. And it also now throttles below 1 GHz. So yeah, at first it looked like it was actually meant to go to the lowest possible TDP setting that Intel had available for this, but doesn't seem like it at all at the moment. So that's good. So our BIOS is pretty good, like we seen before. We have dual channel memory, which I like very much. It's CL22, so nothing special. And of course, you have Intel Xe graphics. So I would like to see, let's see if we can run Task Manager side by side, if we can see what it does in single-threaded performance. So we'll just run a bench here. I guess Task Manager will only allow it to show up to 1.8 gigahertz. We've seen a turbo higher than that, so I guess it's just not all that. Oh, there we go. 3.5, 3.6 is where it holds, 3.7. Okay, so in multi-core, it doesn't really go beyond 2 gigahertz much, but single core, it will actually boost pretty good. That's good to know. Yeah, we have 12 threads here. We can also switch between just the P cores and the E cores. Let's just stress or bench the P cores. Yep, we're seeing 2.3 gigahertz, 2.4 as a max turbo on the P cores. A single thread, it will sit around 3.6, 3.7. All right, that's pretty good. The E-core should realistically only go to up to 3.4 gigahertz, so we'll see what that does. Just boosting the E-cores is 1.7 all core on all 8 of them. And they go up to 3.4, 3.5. So that's pretty good. All right. So it does everything that this CPU should do, and actually just doing that little bench, it didn't actually speed up the fans at all, so that's pretty nice. So in theory, we should now have all of the updates installed and all of the drivers. And there's some stuff here, we'll just give it a retry. Everything is nice and snappy. As far as Windows 11 can be snappy, because even on the fastest systems it can feel a bit sluggish every now and then. It feels faster on this system than it does on my Ryzen 5800X 3D, which is my main system. So yeah, that's pretty good. So in terms of overall system performance, let's just do a full reboot and see how long that takes. I just did that to finish installing updates, and it was pretty quick. This is also something that Windows 11 on some systems can actually struggle with. I know that on my work notebook, which is an HP ZBook Power G10, that actually takes like up to 5 minutes to do a full reboot. Quite annoying. It will just sit on the rebooting screen for 4 minutes and then actually do the reboot, and then it takes another minute for it to come back up again to the login screen. There's something weird there that I've noticed now with Windows 11, but hey ho, Windows 10 is going away, so might as well just replace a system that can no longer run it properly and get everything on Windows 11, because that's what Microsoft wants us to do, right? And I guess this was a bad moment to actually do this reboot test, because now it's just going to install updates. So I'm just going to leave this video here. We've unboxed and finished setting up this Medion S06 MiniPC. We put a Windows 11 Pro on it with Office 2021 Pro Plus, which is all decent and well for the intended user of this system. Wi-Fi is not working properly. It's indeed 1 gigabit Realtek network card that is the onboard NIC, and the Wi-Fi card is indeed the Intel AX101 with Wi-Fi 6 support. So that should be good. Overall system performance appears to be very snappy. It's and stable so far. Windows installed without a hitch. So overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the endeavor so far. So yeah, even with this DRAM cache-less SSD, as you can see, everything is working properly and pretty quickly as well. And here we come back up to the login screen. Log straight in because no password as of yet, because we're still in testing. And here we are at the desktop. So yeah, overall nice little system. Appears to be quite speedy, and I think this will be a good replacement for the existing system, which is a 4th gen Core i3 with 8 gigs of RAM, running Windows 10. So well overdue for an upgrade, you could say. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which will hopefully not take another year to make.